Wonder, 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 wonder.
Welcome back, my friends, to the Senora Vibes podcast, where I am your host, the Alicia E. Senora Vibes is a podcast for lifestyle, travel, business, all good things, celebrating women 40 plus. And today, I'm super excited to bring you a guest of mine that has been in my mind for a while. And then all of a sudden, the universe just brought her in when she sent me a DM and said, "Hey, I would love to be on your podcast." I'm like, "Oh my God, I was just thinking about you." Welcome to the podcast, Annie.
Hello, hello. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so grateful for you to make the time because I know you're a busy girl. You've got 1,000 things going on, and we're going to talk about all of that. But tell my audience about yourself and who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Annie. I am originally from Singapore, and I am a digital marketer, fashion designer, an artist. I am a multi-dimensional artist, so I do a lot of things. And yeah, I am a liver of life. That's what I love to call it because I don't like to be contained into one box. And I think, people are so confined to like what they do and don't bother to explore the definition of themselves and all the layers that come with it.
Mm-hmm. And when we started talking about the podcast, the episode for today, your topic it just stood out to me because it was self-expression and loving yourself.
Yes.
Such important topics.
Oh, such important topics because I actually went on the Isaiah Carey show and my segment was actually about loving yourself and body positivity.
Okay.
I had my little viral moment where I said, you got to look in the mirror and say, "I'm that bitch."
Yeah.
I said on live TV. So,
and how did that go? Did they?
Oh, they aired it.
They aired it.
They aired it. It was live. So I said the B word, and Isaiah was like, "You can go ahead and say it." I was like, well, "I'm that bitch."
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so why are you that bitch?
Because I say so. Because
okay.
because I say so. Also because you gotta own it. Own it because no one's gonna love you harder than how you love yourself.
Oh my gosh.
But
for real.
Despite all the fallbacks, despite all of like the expectations that society puts on you, you gotta still wake up and be like, "I'm that bitch," because I can do anything that you set your mind to. Whether it be one thing or a vast majority of things. It's like, what do you love? You gotta love yourself first before you love anything else.
You have to. Then nothing else falls into place. That has to fall into place first. And it's like an affirmation, right? It's like an early morning affirmation, especially on those days when you're just not feeling yourself. You have to tell yourself those things so that you can pick yourself up. Because not everybody wakes up energized, excited for the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wake up with anxiety and I don't even know where that's coming from.
No, and it's so true because like sometimes you just like, that you wake up, you have like a whole bunch of lists to do. And that you have to get somewhere. You don't even exactly know how to start.
Yeah.
But you start from an overfilling cup.
Yeah.
Overfilling cup of love for yourself. And that way, when you feel like that love for yourself, you give yourself that grace to be able to, fuck up and still love everything that you do in the process.
Exactly. It's so true. So Annie and I met maybe 5-6 years ago. What was it, 2018?
Yeah.
Yes. I think when you were coming back from Singapore and you posted on Facebook that you were looking for an opportunity to do some marketing in fashion.
Yeah.
And so back then I still had my boutique, which is right around the corner from here, actually right next door. And, I was looking for help because this is like something that I struggle with so much is the marketing and the promotion and all of those things. And so being creative was difficult for me, especially at that time. I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere, and I was doing everything I could, and I couldn't get anywhere. So I immediately like typed it in and said, "Hey, Annie, oh, I want to sneeze. I know you're coming back to Houston. I'm looking for somebody to help me out." And you're like, "Hey, I'd love to come in and just chat and let's see what you need." And that kind of started a little collaboration between us, right? It was
Yeah.
about a year and a half. And it was a few campaigns that we did together,
Yeah.
some fashion shows. So I when I closed the store, I always wondered like what happened to Annie, like what did Annie do? Because we didn't see each other anymore. And
Yeah.
Jamal stayed with me because even after the boutique, Jamal came with me to the podcast. But I didn't see you again for years, and I didn't know what
Yeah.
you were doing and what. So tell me a little bit about what happened after we closed down, and like a little bit about that experience working at the boutique as well.
Yeah. So I mean, you really gave me the courage to come back and like be freelancing again after working with an agency. I was working with a creative agency in Singapore, and then on the way back, I was like, okay, do I look for another job here, or do I just, And it just so happened that when I came back, I already fell into an opportunity. And after that, I actually opened up my my agency. It was called Unequal Identity.
Okay.
And I, after the boutique closed down, I went into actually working with food and bev. So like a lot of restaurants and
Okay.
like a lot of so I was doing their social media management and like helping them with creating content. That was going on for a while, and then COVID happened.
Yes.
COVID happened, and then like the first thing they cut out is marketing. So I lost like it was 70% of my business.
Oh my goodness.
And after that, I was like, okay, let me just start over. I was just start over, and I made masks for like the first beginning of 2020.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something.
And we made like mass production of masks, and we made like an imitation of the N95. So it was like 5 layers. It was waterproof. Like,
Okay. Wow.
and we sold it to like corporations. We sold it to schools. Like we were just like,
Yeah.
I think we in the course of that 2 months we sold about like, I think in that course of 2 months we sold about like 150,000 masks.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It was a production house, like,
And y'all were making them here in Houston?
here in Houston, yeah. And we were shipping
Unbelievable.
them to all across the states. We had some in Colorado, New York.
So how much money did y'all make out of that?
Man, it was a lot. It was a lot. But after cost and everything, I was able to pocket like I think $15,000 in the course of 2 months. After like that's profit. This is
That's
like my
amazing.
cut, my cut after expenses and everything. So I was like, man, yeah.
So it worked out.
It worked out. It was great. I mean, I had money to keep me going through the pandemic. On top of the what was it called, the when they give you funds during the
yeah, what is that? That was the
was it the benefits, the COVID-19
it was like
benefit?
yeah what gosh, what was it called? I was just talking to somebody, the PPP loan.
PPP loan?
PPP loan, right?
It's a subsidy. They just like gave it to you. You didn't have to apply for anything. I don't know. It was like,
I don't remember, but I remember there was some loans that were going around. Yeah.
and then they also just like sent you money because they were like, oh yeah, here's to help the Americans out and the economy.
Yes, yes, it's true. Right.
Yeah. So that I kind of was just like free balling everything up until that point, and then I decided to go back to the workforce because just to get some like mental clarity and get some stability in my life. And so that's when I actually was able to explore music. So when I worked at Favor,
Which is another aspect of art
yes,
and creativity that just calls you, right?
yes, I love music in all of its forms, from the lyricism to the melody, just all of it. It's another form of storytelling.
Yes,
And I
absolutely.
think that's what I love. Like it's just storytelling.
Yeah.
Visually, creatively,
Right, right. I remember when you and I would talk about our campaigns that we would do. Like, I think the first thing you picked was the music for the campaign you wanted. You wanted, what was that girl?
Lana Del Rey.
Lana Del
Yeah.
Rey. You're like, I already have the music in my head, and I'm like, okay, if you know what you want to do, because
It was a very beautiful campaign.
yeah, it was gorgeous. And that's how I met a lot of the models that we ended up working with for years. Some of
Yeah.
those girls came back and worked with me for a while. That's how I met some young, creative people as well, like yourself. You brought other people along. And then my girl Alice, I met her through something very similar, through a campaign that I did for Curvy Girls. I mean, there's just so much that I just owe to that boutique, bringing people like you guys to my life, especially for me to be able to mentor you guys in a way that was like, in a business component, while you guys mentored me in a very creative way and showed me how to do social media and showed me how to do, little things that were more creative and more, for you guys, that's something that, millennials do, Gen Zers.
Yeah.
And for me, a Gen Xer, like over here trying to figure out how to do it, But I feel like it was like synergistic. It was always like we were giving each other feedback all the time, which was really amazing and lovely. And you're the one who encouraged me to open a podcast because I thought about it. And you're like, oh, it's so easy. Just go to Anchor and download the app and it's there. And I'm like,
and I was
really?
just like, you can do it on your
That
phone.
easy? I know, you kept saying
now we have
that.
all these like beautiful like podcast equipment.
Yeah. So now it's been 4 years. Can you believe that? So again, encouragement from young people to say, hey, go for it, do it. It doesn't have to be perfect, which is where I always got stuck in the perfectionism and like it has to be perfect before I do anything. Before I publish anything, everything has to be, excellent, excellent, excellent. And it doesn't have to be that way. So it's something that I've learned along the way. So for you, music is therapy, I'm assuming.
It is.
And it's a way to create, to be to express yourself.
Exactly. And like, again, perfectionism. And when you keep comparing yourself to others.
Yes.
Oh my God. It's
No,
so
it's
cliche.
Yes, comparison is a thief.
It is the thief of all joy.
Of all joy.
Like
and all goodness.
You thought you created the best thing. It came from the heart. It was it came from here.
From you.
From here. And then you listen to something else, or you give it to some friends who critique it, and they're just like, I don't know. I don't really feel it.
Yes.
But it's not so much a jab on your character. It's just their perspective of how they see things, or they could give you some constructive criticism on how to make it better, but it's not to charge it to the head, not the heart.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not about is it good enough? Like if you don't put anything out, even if it's not perfect, you didn't do anything at all. You didn't put it at all.
Yeah, and I think regret is even worse.
It's worse
than feeling like you did something and you failed at it. But the regret, if you don't do it at all, kills you. Like it really eats you up because now years gone by and you're like, I could have done that a long time ago if I didn't allow my self-doubt to take over.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but the fact that you did it and you tried it, you looked back at it, I was like, dang, I learned from that, And I think we don't give ourselves enough grace to mess up.
Right.
Especially this last month for me, I just had to do a whole internal reset with my career and my and everything. And I felt so beaten down. Okay. And for the whole month of December, I was like, man, I don't know, where I am in life. And I had to really have some self-reflection. And I was like, I am actually a creative, and creatives fall in many different aspects.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I can't confine myself to only one, in which I've been doing that for quite some time.
Okay.
And I think, like, this is the year to just say, can I cuss on this channel?
Yeah, of course.
To say fuck it and let's go. Fuck it and let's go. Just do it. Just take the leap. Take the leap.
Yeah. And you know what? Even for people like me who are a little bit older, and you would think that, we've already kind of gone through those challenges in our head and we've already arranged them somehow. There's still doubt. There's still moments where I feel like I'm not qualified enough for something, or I'm not good enough to do this. I just did an episode in Spanish with my dad, and I would have never done that before. But I said to myself, maybe I'm not as fluent as other people, but it's my language and it's my fluency, and I'm with my dad,
It's your story.
Yeah. And so I was like, I'm not going to beat myself over the fact that it's not perfect and it's not up to par like other people.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm not going to hold myself to those standards anymore. And that's the part I'm working on for 2024 too, to kind of lay back from that as well a little bit, and not be so hard on myself, because I am
grace
all the time, very hard on myself. And when I lost my mom, I also felt like, okay, let me keep working, let me keep going. And then I just said, no, why am I pushing myself through the grief because I don't want to feel it, or maybe because I don't want to sense that I'm allowing this moment to paralyze me or to stop me. But then I thought, it's not stopping me. It's just giving me that moment of grace, like you said, to just say, it's fine. Life will continue. I will go back and pick up my podcast. I will go back and pick up my job, whatever it is that I'm doing. It'll be fine. I just need to take a breather because I was not in the mood for anything. And people can tell.
Yeah. And like life rides its up and downs, right? And you have to ride those up and downs. Otherwise you will fall out.
Right.
And it's harder to fall out and burn out than to just ride it and let yourself feel it so the moment will pass. So like just like any moment, the hard moments will too pass.
All of them do. Yeah. And so I know that one strategy that I use is just reminding myself that I have gone through these things before and I made it out okay. Right.
Yeah.
So reminding myself, that I have these moments of anxiety, these moments of sadness, or these moments of stress or challenge, but I've encountered them before.
Yeah.
And I've come out of them fine, and I will come out of this one again fine, but a little bit stronger, a little bit more wise.
Yeah.
And then taking on those things that like my husband's always, trying to do things for me, and I'm like, no, I got it. I'm good. And I'm like, you know what? No. Okay, thanks. Go ahead. Go for it. Do it for me. And being more, receptive to taking on help and asking for help and delegating more things. And so I was telling Jamal this before. Like, I feel like I couldn't delegate before. Like, I had to do everything myself. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not. No more. I'm tired. I'm allowing other people to take on some of those things I just don't want to do anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't have to.
And delegating frees you up to do more of the things that you love and do more of the things that are in your genius zone, right? Like, like things that make you go automatically into flow. And like flow state is like the best part of.
So a little bird told me that you had a little bit of a run-in with an employer and you were ready to just like throw in the towel with a job that you were doing. What happened? What was going on with that?
Yeah, so I mean, man, where do I begin? So it was I was doing his PR and marketing, and we've been friends for quite some time.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when it comes with business and friends, you have to walk a thin line, because at the end of the day, business is business and friendship is still friendship. I think one thing that's really important for me is ownership of your values and your just integrity in general.
Right.
And when you don't pay your employees, it looks bad on your integrity.
Absolutely.
And for someone, to come in and do the amount of work that I did, I was just like, look, I know my worth. Right. And I know that I have been putting in the work. Yeah. Because the results show.
Mm-hmm. And you weren't getting paid.
Yeah, I was.
You weren't, so you were working,
I was working,
doing your thing.
I was doing my thing.
Being your creative self, accomplishing goals, getting your deliverables done. Everything is on par, but this person isn't paying you.
Yeah.
And that's hard because you want to feel recognized, you want to feel acknowledged. And whether or not it's monetarily or not, you're not getting acknowledged for your efforts.
Yeah.
And that hurts.
It does. And sometimes, like, you have to know when to walk from a situation.
Yeah.
It's really important as a creative to not only let your arts get the best of you, but also let, your conscience speak for itself. And don't let anybody devalue you.
Right.
At the end of the day, you are the one who sets the price on who you are.
Right. The way that they treat you is the way that you teach them to treat you. Mm-hmm. I know one thing that I struggled with in the past too is just really valuing myself and just putting my price on things that I do and always giving people the cheap discount. But why am I giving people a discount on something that I'm really good at and you're getting a really good deal with me?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm great at this stuff and I can do a really good job for you, but I'm over here undervaluing myself and not charging what I should be getting paid because I'm just not comfortable with that. And that's changed. That's changed for me over the years. But I understand that, as a younger woman, making your way, especially as a freelancer, because that's what you're doing. Yeah. And so that's hard.
Yeah.
Difficult.
And I think, that's definitely taught me to set boundaries from the beginning and to set expectations. It's like, hey, here's what I'm doing, X, Y, Z. Friends or not, this is like, hey, we can still like drink a beer afterwards. You're still my friend. I still value you.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what I need to be valued in order to do business.
Yeah.
And I think setting that.
It's great advice, Annie.
Yeah. Definitely setting boundaries, knowing your worth. It all begins from loving yourself.
It all goes back to that all the time, everything. Yep. So, loving yourself. I had a conversation with someone, when was it, Saturday? We went to this wine event with some friends. And if people were, these women were like, your husband's amazing. He's so good to you and he loves you so much. And like, how did you meet? And like, in college. And, they were like so sweet. Like, you guys have been together, 25 years? Yeah, we've been together 25 years and we're still in love and we still love each other. And one of the girls was like, is that like your first boyfriend? I said, no, I had a horrible boyfriend before I met Rusk. And this guy was horrible and awful. And that's when I learned to love myself enough that I knew I am never putting up with that crap ever again. I'm never going to have a boyfriend like that ever again, which obsessive, nasty, jealous of everything, wouldn't let me go out, didn't want me to dress a certain way, like a bunch of craziness. And I said, you know what? My mom and my dad said, hey, you deserve better. And I believe it. And so that's when I met my husband and said, yes, this guy is giving me everything that I need. And I love myself enough that I can recognize that this is the relationship for me. But it starts with that. And so sometimes you do have to go through crap, and kiss those nasty frogs before the prince shows up,
Yeah.
But it's about self-love. It really is about being worthy, knowing that you're worthy of being loved and taken care of and enjoyed, as a partnership, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It all begins with like, what do I deserve? Mm-hmm. Not what am I going to settle for? What do I deserve? Mm-hmm. Because then you don't chase anymore. You attract. Yeah. And it's all this.
Yes.
Ooh.
No, it's the law of attraction. You do. You do attract what you put out. Mm-hmm. And I believe that because I manifested him too. I'm like, these are my requirements. This is what because I also have a lot to offer.
Yeah.
Right? Like these ladies were saying, oh my gosh, you have a prize. Like he's such a great man. I said, I'm the prize.
Me?
I'm surprised too. I mean, he's great and everything, but he got really lucky with me too because I'm amazing. And
Right.
I could see it from their point of view. They were like, because they can't find boyfriends and they're like trying to be out on the dating scene and like, oh, you're so lucky and you're so lucky. And I'm like, yeah, he's great and everything. He's an amazing husband, but I'm also awesome too.
Yeah,
It's
because
not just
man,
him.
like the dating scene is just
Yeah.
cesspool, and I'm just like,
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
I know. I hear the horror stories and I just can't imagine. I can't. So let me ask you this. There was something I wanted to ask you about sobriety. So you are sober.
I am.
Are you sober for dry January?
So
or is
I
this like
actually
a
did-
real sobriety going on here, Annie?
I am doing dry January.
Yeah.
But I definitely so my podcast before it was called the Late Night Talk. So
Yes, I remember that.
Jamal was on my podcast and he brought me a bottle of whiskey. And it was a lot of fun.
We do have wine all the time in here, and Jamal knows it too, but we didn't have any today.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. I'm doing dry January.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to cut back myself as well.
So, definitely. So it's not so much of like, because I never really had like a drinking problem. I was able to quit like that.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was because it was available and it was fun. And I was like, okay, like why not?
Yeah.
And I was drinking every Friday from the show because, I had guests on and then like they leave me a bottle and then like I'm finishing out the bottle for the rest of the week and I get a refill on Friday. So, like I didn't think it was a problem until like my side was hurting all the time and I was like, okay. I knew I'm gonna go get this checked out. So I went to the urgent care because I don't have a PCP.
Okay.
So I went to the urgent care and they were like, just like touching around my liver and my sides and there's like it's kind of like bulging here.
Yeah.
And then they did the MRI scan and they were like, oh, okay, you need to chill. Like
you had a liver problem?
Yeah, I had it was inflamed.
It was inflamed liver, yeah. Your enzymes were high?
Yeah. So they did blood tests and stuff and they were just like, okay, you need to chill. And I was like, okay, all right, chill.
And it's no joke. Like seriously, being sick from your liver. My mom passed from liver disease, and it was hereditary because she never touched alcohol in her life.
Really?
Yeah, never. But the complications from a bad liver is very, very serious.
Yeah.
And so she had to live like drinking lactulose every day to detox because the ammonia can get to your head. It is really, really horrible. And that's why I've actually myself like started cutting back.
Yeah.
Because I realized that I don't want to be in that predicament. And if it was hereditary, then it's obviously could be hereditary to me.
Yeah.
Because it's something that happened to her. And she never, ever had a drink in her life because her father was an alcoholic. So she hated that. She hated it with the passion. So she never had a drink. But it's really amazing how if we don't discover that as we're young, we could go through years.
Yeah.
Creating damage to our liver.
Yeah. And I think honestly it's just moderation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think actually there was a point in time where okay, I'm gonna get real. I'm gonna get real with you. So I was it was 2021 and I was at a Chyr concert with my boyfriend. And
what kind of concert?
Chyr, it's a house DJ.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was in Houston and
I got
he
it.
surprised me with tickets. And so at the concert, like I bought a bunch of drinks because I was like, yeah, it's a concert, it's fun. And then the bartender had gotten basically I bought a single drink and then they filled it up with like a double shot of vodka. And so I was like, oh, this girl's giving me free stuff. Like she's giving me free drinks. So I keep going back to the bar.
Yeah.
And like that night, like I was so sloshed I don't remember how I got home.
Yeah.
And then apparently my boyfriend was like really upset with me that night because I was yelling at the Uber driver because he got lost. And
And you didn't remember
I don't
that you
remember
were screaming at him.
I didn't remember any of that. And then that was the moment I realized, oh my God, okay, maybe I have a problem. I was like, all right, let me stop. And that was the point. I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm done completely with like, drinking like this. And after that, I think like I haven't really, I haven't really drank like
to that extent.
Right? I would just have like 1, 2, like something cute.
Right.
I would not.
I know that feeling.
It was just like, ooh, okay, this is a problem.
Yes.
Like, let me not encroach and like mess the people around that I love.
Yeah.
And this is not who I am. So I was just like, it was a
well,
switch.
good for you to have that reflection and to realize it in a place and a time where, you could still make amends or, definitely have your boyfriend be like, okay, thank you for like taking care of me. Because I've had that situation where I'm partying and having a good time. And all of a sudden, I don't know, I'm in my bed in my pajamas. And how did I get my pajamas on? Well, my husband did it all for me because I was so drunk.
Yeah.
And that's not cool. That is not becoming of me. And I realize that those days, the reasons why I get that way is because I'm dealing with something and I'm really trying to drink myself through that, whatever it is, that emotion. And now for me, it's about like assessing when I'm at that place and being like, okay, I'm not gonna allow a drink to take me out of my perspective and my reality because that's not cool.
Yeah.
And I don't want my kids to see me like that. That is definitely something that I regret so much if my boys were to see me. And thankfully they haven't and they didn't that time. But I mean, I woke up in the morning and I'm like, how in the world did I get my PJs on? Like, what happened? He's like,
like, why do I?
He's
your
like,
head is
I'm the
hurting.
one that put them on you. I'm like, oh my God, honey, thank you so much for taking care of me because I don't know if you were not around, like,
Oh my
what's
God.
gonna happen. But that was a reality check for me as well, and I vowed that I would never do that again. And I haven't. And it's been years.
Yeah, because that same night, like, I threw up in the litter box. Like, when I got
Well, at
to
least
my
there was a
house-
litter box and it wasn't.
No, there was a trail from the litter box to the
Oh
toilet.
my
But, like, the
gosh.
litter box was next to the toilet. So, like, I threw up in the litter box first. And then,
Oh,
like,
no.
it was, like, the toilet. Like, you saw a trail. I was like,
But you know what? It's a call for us to be more cognizant of how we drink.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, like, I think, a lot of times, too, like, we drink because we don't want to feel things.
Yeah.
And
Right. Exactly.
because it's scary. These tough emotions, they're scary. And when you don't have that support system to sit there and walk you through those emotions,
Right.
I think the best thing that has helped me was to journal, because that way you dump everything out onto the paper and it's just a stream of consciousness. And then you write for long enough, there's another stream of consciousness that comes in and it's like talking to you at the same time. And there's two streams of consciousness, because it's like the higher self, which knows who you are, who also is already inside of you. I think I had this moment where whenever I journal, there's like 3 streams of consciousness that comes out. The one is like where I'm feeling right now, where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like where, like all the emotions that I'm feeling, right? So like let's say I had a really bad day.
Okay.
I feel discouraged. I feel, like that they did me wrong. And I feel like I wasn't doing enough.
Gotcha.
Right? That and then there's another self that's like a criticizing self. It's almost like okay, what did you do wrong? What did you like? How could we be better? And what do you need to do to fix that? Right? Like, and then there's another one that's like, in the grand scheme of things, it does not matter.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
of course. Yeah.
in
it
the
does.
grand scheme of things, you can do it or not. It does not matter because you were this small. And it's almost comforting to find that, hey, if nothing you do matters, do it. You know, like if like in the grand scheme of things, like, hey, not to be like a nihilistic, but like, in a very grand scheme of things, like if you let's say you fuck up once or twice, no one's gonna care. Like no one's gonna care. Just do it because you want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think there's power in that.
But I think we punish ourselves when we mess up, huh? Like, and that's even more hurtful because we punish ourselves because we didn't do something right or we didn't do our due diligence or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the hardest part. Not what other people are going to punish you. I don't care if somebody punishes me. I'm hard on me.
Exactly.
Because I allowed myself.
Exactly. So I think, like, journaling for me has really helped me kind of realize and, like, sort out all these voices going on in my head and, like, write them out on paper.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't ever read back my journal entries. Like, I never read back my journal entries. It's almost like it's talking to myself. It's like I'm talking to myself.
But it's more of a dump, right? It's like a dump of your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions. And it's a way to process.
Exactly.
Right? And music for you is processing. Doing marketing or digital marketing or social media, the things that you do. I know that you love doing videos. I see you doing your videos all the time. And that's a way for you to process all of those emotions as well. Like creative people are hyper emotional.
Oh, yeah.
Like my son is hyper emotional, hypersensitive because he's a creative, you know? And so for me, you know, having that kid, understanding where he's coming from has been like growth process for myself because I'm not an emotional person. I'm a very logical, straight to the point. Like, okay, get to it. Like, I need you to get to this thing. Yeah. And for him, it's like, oh gosh, you know, the emotions are always at 120% sometimes because, you know, and people will send him songs, you know, because he'll do videos for these people. And he has to listen to the song before he even takes on the video because he has to feel if the song, you know, has something to give. I don't know. It's just this whole creative process about things. I'm like, babe, but they're paying you. I mean, you're making money. He's like, yeah, but mom, I need to make sure that it's a song that I can feel and like visualize. And then he starts to storyboard, and I'm like, okay,
he's got to have an attachment to it.
He does. Yeah. He really does. In everything, he has to have an attachment to it.
Yeah.
So it's funny how, you know, I'm learning a lot about that process of creatives through my kid.
Yeah.
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 I love that.
I think like the first part of anything creative is like, what do you want it to feel? Like, what is the feeling behind this? What is the message behind this?
Yes.
And, you know, I think digital marketing these days, this is going to be very controversial. But digital marketing these days, everybody just wants a quick 5-second video to sell you something. And like I really try to avoid these like get rich quick, like
my gosh, and they're everywhere.
Digital marketing, and it's just like, oh, here's how 10 hooks to make you viral, and then like see caption. I'm just like.
There's so many of them. They're so annoying.
Same thing, and it's like buy my e-course.
Yeah.
It's like what are the like who are you? Who you know? I think that's also another reason why like personal branding is so important because they want to see your authenticity. Like you can have all these great tips, but like if people don't connect with who you are, it's like
right.
All right, okay.
Yeah, they'll just like, who are you? Why should I listen to you? Why should I learn from you? And why should I give you my money?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because you say so? Like, that's a problem for me, where I see so many people go over there online and do business coaching or do life coaching. And I'm like, I don't know if I would trust you with my life coaching, dude.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many of them that just assume or presume to know so much that they want to share it with the world. I'm like, where's the proof? Like, where's the backbone? Where's the meat to the bones?
It's like give me a story. Give me something, you know, to talk about.
That relates. Yeah.
It's like okay, you know, for example, give a scenario instead of like, hey, here's 5 like, but you know, it's also about like how quick you can grab their attention. Right.
That's true.
Everybody
That's
wants
so
to
true.
do these like aesthetic posts on Instagram, which is why TikTok is honestly doing better than Instagram.
Yeah.
Because they're not trying to sell you every single like 3 or 4 posts like Instagram is. There's more authenticity.
So much more. Right.
But yeah.
Annie, I'm so grateful to have you here. It's been a beautiful interview, beautiful stories from you, a beautiful moment to just reminisce on our little past.
Yes.
Seeing you succeed, seeing you happy, seeing you doing your thing, which is what you do best, is your creativity, your joy, your joy for life, which is very, very transferable and very much felt. Like I feel it, especially when I'm on your Insta or whenever I'm watching you. I'm like, oh my God, that girl's got all that energy. And then you have like a fitness one, and I'm like, oh my God, and now she's doing a workout. Like that is like so funny and so fun because guess what? You're doing your thing. And I appreciate women who go out there and do their thing. And I'm learning to let go and not cringe so much at myself because, Annie and Jamal are like, let's try this, let's try that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it, but I'm going to cringe this whole time. But I'm going to move through that and I'm going to get myself out of that because that's part of growth and it's not supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable so that growth happens. But your story of self-love. So where can people find you? Where can they listen to your music? Tell everybody.
So you can find me on Instagram at azy.chyr, and I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, all of the good things. It's on you can also check out Azzy World, and that's azychyr.com.
Okay.
And on there you can see all of my music videos, and if you subscribe to my newsletter, I'll send you a free sticker.
Ooh,
yeah.
fun.
I am also having a fitness page where I take videos of my it's a personal blog for me.
It's like, I know.
It's a little bit of everything right now. I'm
think-
trying to still figure it out, but I want to advocate mental health and mental wellness as well as physical wellness. I think,
they go together. They definitely go together. Mm-hmm,
They do.
Mm-hmm.
I saw on Instagram the other day, there was this guy, and there was this girl. She was like, "Oh, yeah, you can skip working out, if you want to be fat, like on Instagram." And I was just like, "Bro, why would you say that?" Like, but I mean, it was definitely controversial. It got the likes, got the comments going.
Well, that's probably what they're going for.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, they got the job done.
They
but
did.
I was just like, okay, you got to take it from a holistic standpoint. So that page has been like an overall personal journey of mine.
Yeah.
Just so I could help hold others accountable.
Yeah. And you hold yourself accountable through that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just filming and documenting the process.
Exactly. Just the process itself. You're holding yourself accountable for that too.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love how you're doing it all and you're putting it all out there because you want to, not because somebody tells you.
Yeah.
And because you feel like it and you want to help other people. And that's why this podcast is where it is too. Because I want to encourage other people to just get out of their comfort zone, try something different. Yeah. I'm doing it. Every time I do a podcast, I'm getting outside of my comfort zone because I'm trying to not get that perfectionist mentality and get rid of it. I'm doing more in Spanish. I'm bringing my family on a little bit more. I tend to be very private about that. I'm not going to be so private anymore because I have a beautiful, wonderful relationship with people that I want more people to kind of get that sense that, hey, you can develop relationships that are meaningful and fruitful and authentic and lovely and sweet. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We'll come back, and I want you to come back, and I want us to talk about body positivity on the next episode. Okay?
Sounds good.
Because that's something that I definitely want us to really, really delve into and go in deeper.
Okay. I love that.
All right, Annie. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
having me.
Love you,
babe. Friends, before we go, I'm asking a huge favor of you. Please review the podcast. You can go to Apple or you can go to Spotify. Share the episodes with your friends and support my sponsors. Furthermore, I'd love to connect with you when you visit my website, www.aliciaelatasi.com. Here you'll see that I can help you set up your very own podcast. You'll have access to my curated travel itineraries, Additionally, my caregiver's handbook, something I'm very proud of. There's even something there on creating passive income. Oh, and let's not forget, I can help you buy or sell your home. So check me out at www.aliciaelatasi.com. And remember, the key to anything is execution.